Live from Miami, Florida, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to Patriots Perspective with Christi Tasker. Your news behind the government's facade. Don't fall victim to propaganda or spend another 30 days in the tech gulag. Turn off your television and just listen. Hear the most mind-opening hours of your life as we interview whistleblowers and real patriots for uncensored truth. The Commie News Network and Fake Book cannot control the power of Jesus Christ. Therefore, they have no power over us. There aren't enough Vegas strippers to fake check what's coming. Put in your earphones and avoid the tech tyrants. Subscribe to patriotsperspective.com now and see the evidence and action items to help you take back your God-given rights, government, and expose Satan and his demons taking up residence in your community. Be sure to hit the like or rumble button and comment to tell us where you're holding the line.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Patriots Perspective. And tonight I have an amazing guest with me. He is a singer. He is a general. And he is the destroyer of DEI. Welcome to the stage, General. Thank you so much for all of your work. I look forward to my audience learning all about you and, oh my gosh, the amazing voice that nobody even knew that you had. So let's just start there.
Well, I'll tell you, I grew. So I'll say this: my mother, started taking me to church, and she always had a nice voice, and she is in the habit of humming while she's working. My father used to whistle while he worked. My mother would hum while she worked. And as a matter of fact, there's times when I ended up when my mother really started getting feeble and fragile. I installed cameras around the house to make sure that I could monitor. And sometimes I would turn on the camera over the front door, and she'd be out in the yard pruning her roses and humming. And I go, holy smokes. And so somehow that made it to me, because there's times when my staff, when I was the Assistant Adjutant General of the West Virginia National Guard, when I would not hum, my staff would come in. Is everything all right, General? I go, what are you talking about? We don't hear you humming, so we figure something's wrong. And I go, I had no idea that I was humming all the time. But I've been in gospel choirs all my life, and yeah, singing is something I love.
Well, listen, you've got a great voice. I mean, we might have to, if people stay around long enough, you might have to sing us on the way out,
Ooh,
Hey,
all right.
what do you think about that?
I'll think of the right song and we'll do it.
Well, listen, tonight, America is sitting back and they're wondering, what's really going on with this diversity, equity, and inclusion. So DEI, what the world has come to know as DEI. And so let's give them an idea, General, of how it got started from your perspective, the approach that the government tried to use, the military used, why it works, why it doesn't work. Feel free to just take the stage.
All right. I think originally there were some people who thought, okay, this is something we can do to enhance the way America thinks of the military and to bring in more minorities who and let them feel welcome. And in my mind, quite honestly, diversity in itself is not a bad thing. It's how you get there that becomes a bad thing. And then the government, not just the DOD, but the entire U.S. government, especially under the Biden administration, started really injecting a lot of the Marxism. I think they thought that following the BLM example was the way to go, and I think a lot of them were virtue signaling. But they had some people had no idea what was really going on. And then years ago, when congressional members and senators started asking about critical race theory, we'd have people in the government saying, no, 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 we're not doing that. We're just educating people about it.
Mm-hmm.
But that they were lying. And because I got to see it firsthand. And at the, let's say the ground, I hate saying ground level, but basic training level on up into maybe what E6, which in the various military, in the various services, that's different things, but and maybe for the officers from O1, which would be second lieutenant or ensign in the Navy, on up to maybe captain, or in the Navy it's lieutenant. They just they did mild indoctrination, but a lot of it was just trying to say that pretty much white people are the oppressors, and you white males you're the problem. And I was listening to some of that, and I go, hold on a second. As I look around, the vast majority of our military is white males. Are you asking them to self-flagellate, or are you asking them to leave? Either way, you're not doing anything about bringing the services together. You're not doing anything about unity. You're actually causing discord. But what really, really topped it off is at the top, generals and what they call the senior executive service, SESs in the government, who are the civilian equivalent of generals. They, in the Air Force at least, they wasted a lot of money, in my opinion, and Georgetown University was loving it because they were making a lot of money on this.
How did they make a lot of money? Like, when you're saying, I mean, how would people make a lot of money? Like, who made the money? Who was providing, like, is this services? Because I think a lot of people don't realize that these were services being provided and maybe a form of government overreach.
So the Air Force was paying them good money, tens of thousands of dollars per course, per person,
wow.
to be indoctrinated. So that Georgetown University professors would say that, yes, white people are the problem, they're the oppressors. No people of color can be racist because they are the oppressed. And also, if you meet someone new and you don't ask them that person his or her pronouns, then you are wrong. And they tried to beat that into us. And I'm sitting there, and again, this course was for generals and senior executive service.
Wow.
And I'm in this course going, okay, but again, in my role, I had to bite my lip, and I just reported this to other people who reported it to congressional members and senators. But that's when I said, okay, they've really, really gone off the rails now, because there's even a friend of mine, another general, Tracy Smith, who I've known for many years. She grew up in Philadelphia, and I'll say this: she is a fighter in spirit and in deed. And some of those stories are meant for us drinking, but I'll tell you, she's ready to throw hands if necessary. But she was in this class too, and she started challenging some of the indoctrination, or other people call it BS, that they were throwing at us. And they were trying to make her seem like, oh, she's out of order and whatnot. And then end of that day, that particular day, she calls me and she says, Mookie, am I coming off as an asshole? And I said, sorry, as an asshole. And I said, no, Tracy. They're trying to gaslight you, and I'm proud of you for holding strong, because all they're doing is trying to indoctrinate us. But what really got me is there were some people in that class who were just like, yeah. And I said, holy smokes, this is
Wow.
what I would call clapping like trained seals. I said, okay,
Wow.
and these were high-ranking people, 3-star and up. And I went, okay, I see where things are going, and if these people are going to be leading our military, then we're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And but these are sort of things were happening. Now, there are certain things that they were doing that I would not put on the crazy meter, but there are plenty of things they were doing crazy that I put on the crazy meter. Really taking majors and lieutenant colonels and having them in charge of planning LGBTQ month celebrations
Wow.
about the Pentagon. I go, shouldn't we be planning on how to beat the Chinese? But nevertheless, I said,
Yeah.
okay.
Forget the communists. We're planning events now. You're like the world's best event planners. What I'm hearing.
Quite honestly, we had a lot of people raising their hands. Oh, I want to do this. Okay. I see where things are going, and I didn't like it. And then let's go even before becoming officers in the military. Let's say in our service academies where they have cadets who they're trying to teach to be future leaders and officers, career officers. I can't tell you. I heard things about West Point and the Naval Academy in Annapolis, but I know at the Air Force Academy they have these folks that the cadets I know call the purple ropes, and they would wear a purple rope, and what they were are what we would call the political commissars, and they would go around reporting anybody who said anything that might be considered non-PC or non-woke. And I said, okay, now this is really gone off the rails, because I remember as I came up during the Cold War, learning about the political commissars that would be embedded within the Soviet military, and actually helping make decisions. And anybody who's read the book Hunt for Red October or watched the movie, they could see that political officer was there on a submarine trying to second guess the captain. And so, but these are the kind of things that were going on. And I said, it's right here in front of us, and we have senior officers who came up during the Cold War, and that's okay with them. And I said, okay, we have to get rid of a whole lot of them then. Either that, or I have to go move to Antarctica, because we're going to end up being taken over by the Chinese.
Mm-hmm. And so, and that's a great point, General, because I mean, at one point, they're trying to prepare you to be event planners, event coordinators. Yeah. Okay. Before that, can you explain to the audience, like before this diversity and inclusion, like maybe your first, like just say year or two being general, what were things like before the DEI? Like what were you focused on prior? I mean, can you give them an idea of like what your main focuses were prior, or what they should have been?
Yeah. My main focus, especially I started off when I was a general officer as Chief of Staff of the West Virginia Air National Guard, and then I went on to become the Assistant Adjutant General of the West Virginia National Guard and Commander of the West Virginia Air National Guard. And then I was primarily concerned, and all of my people were concerned with training so that we would be effective, not only effective, but victorious in any Pacific conflict. Matter of fact, there were even times when the wing commanders who were under my command, we one C-17 wing and one C-130 wing, and they were trying to tell me, oh, Air Mobility Command says this is the training we should be doing. And I actually had to go. So I grew up in New York City, and I'm a West Virginian now. I'm a West Virginian by choice, but I actually had to go New York on them and say, hey, I don't care what AMC, Air Mobility Command, is saying. None of the people on their staff are any smarter than the people that you have. You have weapons officers in your wings. I need you to concentrate on how to operate in a Pacific conflict and be able to do agile combat employment. And I had to force that on them. I said, I need you to get with Army, the Army National Guard, Army Reserves, active duty Army. I need you to be able to find units that have HIMARS, which is it is a system that shoots rockets about 300 miles, but it is an effective system that we've been even sending to Ukraine, and at first Biden didn't let them shoot it into Russia because it would cause a lot of damage. But I said, I need you all to find the Army units with HIMARS, practice getting it on the C-17 or the C-130, land on a dirt strip, get them to take that HIMARS out, simulate launching, and then get it back on the plane and get out of there before simulated counter battery fire would come. And they said, well, sir, we have to practice this other stuff. I said, you're not hearing me, because if you don't do this, I'll find another wing commander who will. And then they did. But then afterwards, they came to me and said, you know what? Thank you for that, because now well, some of the things that we're doing, Air Mobility Command is imitating. I said, there you have it. Mm-hmm. They're not, people on the staff are not always the smartest ones. Matter of fact, sometimes they send the dullards there. So not all the time, but
you
but
said
again,
it. You said it, not me.
I said it. If they want to be mad at me, they can come bump chests. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, the point is, you basically went from doing the things that you're just talking about that are very important, preparing for a conflict, mm-hmm. and to help others, to going from something diversity, equity, and inclusion, which actually was the big divider. So what are the things
how many of my people said, so I'm retiring, or I'm getting out because I can't take this anymore. Many of them, and here's the thing, so the West Virginia Air National Guard, probably 98% white, but I can tell you without reservation, 90% of them would lay across the train tracks for me.
Yep.
So my color had nothing to do with it. It was all about leadership. Okay. Yep. And again, they were telling me, they say, I don't like this training that's telling me that I'm the bad person. And you got to imagine this.
Yeah.
Many of us, many of the folks in the West Virginia Air National Guard, we deployed together. We were flying on MVGs on totally blacked out airfields in Afghanistan together, getting shot at together. We would have put our lives down for one another. So then imagine after all of that, some clowns from Georgetown University or other academia or trying to come in and give us classes to tell them that they are inherently racist. Mm-hmm. Come on, that's not going to work. It was total BS.
Thank God it didn't, though. I mean, but thank God it didn't, because of people like you who were willing to stand up. So tell the audience, like, what you did, what happened. Did you stay? Did you go? How many people went along to get along? And what's occurring now?
Oh, so I'll say this. There were a lot of people who were just silent because, again, many of us always think about the Constitution and say, all right, we may not like Joe Biden, but he's the commander in chief. And so we, instead of protesting like some of the people are doing now against President Trump, we just said, okay, let's bite our lips and get through this. But when things got too crazy, some people just said, okay, I'm out. I can't take this. Me, I was put in that position within the Office of Diversity and Inclusion for a reason. That was to be a speed bump for the crazy, and also let people know what was going on, because a lot of the stuff that they were doing, they tried to do in secret and just slide it in. So a lot of the training that a lot of our airmen, sailors, Marines, and soldiers got, they tried to slip that under the radar. It's only when people took screenshots of it or pictures of the PowerPoint presentations and Congress got a hold of it, that's when things went sideways. But they were trying to slip this in slowly. It's what the Marxists call the long march. They've been doing it through our educational systems, starting as early as kindergarten, and by the time our children are in their teens, they're ready to turn in their parents at a moment's notice. And you go, whoa, what just happened? But again, this is something that the new administration is going to stomp out, and I'd love to help them, because that is not America. If people want to live like that, they can go live in China.
Yeah, because I mean it is Marxist strategies, along with Saul Alinsky tactics that are being used.
Oh yes.
Yeah, throughout.
Oh, but the left hates it when we use it back on them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Kurt Schlichter always says, "You're going to hate it when we play by the new rules," and they do.
Yep, absolutely. They really don't like it, do they, General?
That's
absolutely right. Not. So let me ask you a question. So there's people out there that are listening. Maybe they have kids that are in high school or in middle school. They have no idea what they're going to do. At this very point in time, give them some pointers of what you recommend as a parent, for people who want to go in the military. How can they kind of test drive things, or what would you recommend?
Okay. So for the last 4 years, I've had literally hundreds of veterans and who are friends of mine telling me that they're telling their sons and daughters not to join. And I said, whoa, don't do that. I said, how about this? Have them join and have them be the ones who are stalwarts against the crazy. Because if they don't join and only the left and the crazies join, then our military is going to turn into garbage. We need the people to hold the line. And so some of them said, nah, I don't know if I want to do that. Now, after November 5th, pretty much all of them said, okay, now I'm telling my kids to do it. The past administration tried to gaslight America on the poor recruiting that has been going on for the last few years, saying, "Oh, it's because the economy is so great. That's why we're not getting anybody." That's not why.
No,
I know why, because all of the folks whom I mentor and all of my friends whose kids who would have gone, and they told me why. Yeah. And I see that they're destroying our DOD with all of this nonsense, and they couldn't care less. I tell you what, if right now, if President Trump said, okay, we'll let you do whatever you want to do, they would implement it again full throttle because they really don't care that they're destroying the military.
Yep.
For them, it's ideology uber alles. So I'm glad they're being stomped out.
Okay, so we definitely want them to join. I mean, so we want our kids to join now.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Now is the most important time because we need the best and the brightest. And I've been a proponent, along with a lot of my other compatriots, on a concept. It's called APAM, but it's only called APAM because A is for aviation, but it can be CPAM for cyber, but we call it the professional athlete model. And meaning NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, they put in the work, put in the dollars, put in the mentorship from age 8 on up. So by the time these youngsters are 18, they are at the pinnacle of their skills. With our military right now, for pilots, for cyber, and any other thing, we try to catch kids when they're between 18 and 22 and try to turn them into Olympians in a few years, and it doesn't work that way. Our competitors in China are actually using this professional athlete model right now, so that their youngsters, by the time they're 20 years old, they will be elite pilots, elite cyber warriors, and all of that. And so we're doing it wrong.
Yep.
It's the same thing with any Olympians. You don't start off somebody at age 18 and say, hey, okay, you want to be an Olympic gymnast? It doesn't work that way. All right. Or you want to be an Olympic boxer? Let's start you out at 20 years old. No. And so what I would like to do, and quite honestly, if we have a national program like that, not all of those kids need to go into the military. It will help our country as a whole, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't have to be just for aviation and cyber. It could be for logistics. It could be for engineering. It could be for all sorts of things.
It's basically the technical colleges that we're missing, right? Like, I mean, just making those part classes in technical colleges for kids who don't want to go out. And it's funny, you mentioned China. And one of the things I think people don't really think about, especially those Europeans that may be watching us, is that, you know, your children are getting out of school at 16 years old and they're already, you know, like in their college grades, while our kids are, you know, they're so dumbed down that they're forcing them to go until they're 18 years old. You know, I know I myself, you know, used to check myself out of school to go to work when I was 16 through the work release program, but somebody's even told me they don't even have that anymore, which I'm just like, oh my gosh, well, that's no wonder what's wrong with America is, like, you know, we have a bunch of kids that don't want to work. They don't know how to work. They don't have any technical skills. They want to be influencers.
And here's the thing with that. There are certain kids whose parents are from certain cultures, let's say mainly Asian cultures or the Caribbean or South Asia. They instill a sense of purpose in their kids, and the kids who have just grown up with their families several generations in the United States right now, with our poor education system, they are coming up with an attitude that is like, gimme, instead of working for it. Entitled senses of entitlement, where we have these others who are really going for it. And so I think, you know, I'll tell you this. My father was a strict disciplinarian, and when my homework wasn't right, the lights would come on in my bedroom at 3 a.m. He'd rip the blankets off of me and say, your homework's wrong, redo it.
I love it.
I hated it then, but I'm glad he did that now, because it made me the person I am today. But again, I think we need to get more parental butt kicking on our youngsters to make our country even greater.
Yep, absolutely. I 100% agree. Okay, so speaking of education, what are you going to say when Trump does away with or what do you want to happen with the education system, and what do you think is going to happen, and what do you think America is going to do if Trump does away with the education system?
Well, when we say education system,
Yeah, the
we mean
national, the national education system.
Department of Education.
Yeah, Department of
As a
Education. Yes,
cabinet.
thank you for
Yeah.
clarifying, General.
And so all we need to do is show America the numbers. Since that Department of Education was instituted, and I think it was during the Carter administration, but nevertheless, all the billions of dollars that have gone into that, there's been no improvement in our education for our youngsters. Matter of fact, it's actually slid a bit, maybe a lot.
Yeah.
And so quite honestly, if people looking at it rationally and say, if this was your business, would you keep funding this? And most people would come to the conclusion, yeah, get rid of it, because quite honestly, the states, before that Department of Education was created, the states took care of all the education, and things were just fine, quite honestly. And so a lot of people try to vilify states like Mississippi and Louisiana, but surprisingly, in the last year, Mississippi and Louisiana have been amongst the few states where post-COVID, the reading and math levels have improved. Whereas a lot of these other states that spend exorbitant amounts of money per student, the reading and math scores continue on a downward glide slope. So all people have to do is just look at the numbers. But a lot of people really don't look at empirical data. They just look at emotion. And the left loves to feed on that. They love low information voters and they love emotional voters. But those of us who actually have to make big decisions for a living, we like to look at data and go, okay, this is the way we're going to go. I don't care if you don't like it, but this is the way we're going to go.
Yeah.
And so if he gets rid of the Department of Education, I wouldn't even notice.
That's very well put. That is bad. I don't think even America is I don't even think they're gonna notice at all, because it's one of those
only people who have cushy jobs within the Department of Education are going to
exactly.
Otherwise, no one else will even know. They'll say, "Oh, they got rid of it." They won't even know.
I think one of my aunts was the principal of 2 schools, and the other was a teacher for decades. And I said to both of them, listen, apply to be the Department of Education. They said, no, we hate the Department of Education. I said, exactly. You can just get rid of it. You can turn around and tell Trump you want it, and then turn around and get rid of it. Say, this is it. So I think they're all going to be really happy, as far as I know, because they saw it as a roadblock. They saw it as teachers not being able to teach. Not trying to stuff words in any of their mouth, but teachers, were stripped of their ability to actually teach, and then the brainwashing continued. So I think that it kind of goes back to DEI. Maybe DEI was the ending of all of the indoctrination, or they maybe thought that they were going to finish everybody off. But thank God there was people like you, General, who saw it, didn't like it, knew what was occurring. And earlier you had mentioned a movie. I love to leave my audience with like movies that they can watch to better really understand situations. So you said Hunt for Red October?
Hunt for Red October, and concentrate on, so Sean Connery's character was the captain of the Red October, but he had a political officer on there who was watching what he was doing and making sure that he was in lockstep with the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and that's what we are having occurring in our service academies, who are producing or supposedly producing the future leaders of our armed forces.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I have you back, General. And thank you so very much for being on tonight. I know that you're on some very, very busy business internationally. So thank you, and God bless you for making time to be here. Would you like to sing us out?
All right.
Or do you have any final words, and then you want to sing us out?
I'll just say, I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. I'm proud to sing the men who died to give that right to me, and I gladly stand up next to you. And okay, so that's
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
I was forgetting the lyrics, and I didn't want to sound stupid. But again,
That's okay. Lee Greenwood, listen, I'm right there with you. That was my dad's favorite song. So, you know.
We heard that after survival, evasion, and resistance escape training. They played that song for us, and a lot of us were bawling.
Oh, wow. You know what? You actually just made me realize one of my favorite things. I'm going to play for the audience because I never do this, but I've created a playlist that's actually on this channel that we're on, which is Patriots Perspective on YouTube. So I'd created a playlist of different songs, and let me just see what it is called, because this is a fun one that I think that you might enjoy.
All right.
Because I love, especially, you know, like military and patriotic music. So I would play it for my grandchildren during COVID, and so they would just love it. You know, like when the Lee Greenwood song says "Stand up next to you," you know, we would do all the motions and everything. They're saying, "Can we do it again? Can you do it again? Can we do it again?"
Oh Lord!
Yeah. So I love it. Well, I can't find it at the very moment, but there are some playlists on Patriots Perspective on this channel that you're listening to. If you just go to playlist, you can see patriotic music. I'll send you the link, General, when we get off, because I love to just listen to it, turn it on, and go. My grandfather served JFK as Army attaché, so we grew up with music everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. No, we really did. We've got to get to know each other even better. I mean, we're always so busy, like, you know, we have to get this done and this done and this done. If people could just see behind the scenes of like us going, hey, do you guys know this? Do you know this? Like I said, I love working with these guys because you get more done with high level military than you could do in 10 or 20 years in corporate America. So,
that's a
yeah, the decision is made. Come on, let's go. The decision is made.
We don't want a lot of bureaucracy. We want to
no. Exactly. Cut to the chase, man. Let's go. Let's go. General, thank you for being here. Will you come back on and say, you know, a couple weeks when you're back in the States, when you're back? I'd love to have you, because, you know, we need to encourage America parents to make some shifts, make some changes. So you and I, we're gonna have like a little parenting show here. You know, I love that.
There we go. I literally mentor scores of youngsters from age 9 up to age 22. So 22, they're youngsters to me. But again, I mentor them all because I think one of these days, I don't have children of my own. And so hopefully one of my mentees will take care of me when I'm old and disabled. So
let me ask you a question.
I'm building up a bench of potential caregivers.
You're going to have all these kids calling you General, and you're going to have more
eating me soup, changing my diapers, but you know, I've got to prepare.
No, your mind's gonna be sharp, and you're gonna be there on your way out.
Oh yeah.
Yes, because we know you must have had a good mama.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
God willing, April 20th, she'll be 92.
Whoa, we gotta have mama on.
Oh, so right now we have someone taking care of her 24/7.
Okay.
But sometimes it takes 2 people, and so my sister and I take turns going up there to New York City to take care of her. She's in the house that I grew up in. She will refuse to leave that house. And quite honestly, at this point, why take her out of that house? She would probably give up. So we want to give. My sister and I differ on certain things. My sister will say, "Oh, Mom can't have that. It has sugar in it," and I say, "Mom, you're 92. You can have whatever the hell you want."
That's right.
So we differ on that, but we both love Mom greatly.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, please give her a big hug for me and your sister too, because you know what? Caregiving it's a different battle. Matter of fact, we could probably have some conversations about that because there's so many people that need to be encouraged. And I think you've encouraged a lot of people tonight to, number one, stand up, hold the line, don't give up. There you go, brother. I'm telling you.
So one final thing. When I said my father was a disciplinarian, and so waking me up in the middle of the night because homework was gone, that was the mild part of it. There's times when I need to take his belt off because I tended to be a little bit of a rambunctious kid. But he would be beating me, but my mother would say, "Herman, that's enough," and stop him at times. And so I remember those times of her defending me. And I said, okay, so there's no way on earth that I will abandon her now. I'm gonna be there no matter what it takes.
Yep. Good for you. You're a good son. You're a good son. Yeah.
I'm a son. I'm what a son should be. I figure all sons, that's their duty. If they don't do that, so yeah. So good. I don't want to take adoration for it. It's what all sons should do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was going to say, and I take care of my mom too. You know, some days she may not like it. She may not like the fact that that we have to do things my way every once in a while.
Over my sister because I let her do what she wants sometimes.
That's awesome. Well, please come back soon and get some rest. Thank you for staying in the fight, and we hope that you get a position here before too long. For sure. After these major confirmations, I have a feeling, things are going to start to roll out.
We shall see. It's in God's hands.
Yep, that's right. So everybody be praying for the general that he gets a position somewhere so that he can continue to make a change for us from Washington, D.C. and, keep destroying the DEI and anything else that they might have coming against us.
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you, brother. Take care.
Cheers.
Remember, take action. Take action. Don't let big tech win. Share this video with a friend now. Most importantly, do unto others as you would have others do unto you.
Are you a voting member of the NRA? My name is Christi Reeves. I will never compromise my beliefs in God, family, our country, and my Second Amendment. I am running for the board of directors of the NRA, and I would appreciate your vote. Politicians are very good at playing with words. They always talk about gun control. How about right control? Because when you go against the Second Amendment, that's our right. That's our God-given right, not only by God, but by the founding fathers. So why don't you just call it what it really is, right control. You're taking our rights away. You cannot regulate evil. Evil is evil, and evil is always going to be persistent, and it's always going to be here. So why get rid of our ability to protect ourselves? The Second Amendment right protects the rest of them, and it protects us. It protects your home, your body, and your spirit, because without it, how are you going to protect yourself? Don't be a sheep. Don't follow just because it's popular. Think for yourself. Be yourself. Be that individual that God made you to be. You wasn't born to follow. You was born to lead.